friends. I'm hoping we're going to get a pretty sunrise through these clouds here. It was supposed to be raining, so it's like gift that it's not. But this morning I was reading some Roar, as I tend to do, and was kind of inspired by a passage that sort of talked about that we are not human beings trying to figure out how to be spiritual. We are spiritual beings on a quest to know what it means to be human, paraphrase. And, you sort of reference to, and it's got me thinking about the amount of our scriptures in the Christian and Jewish traditions that really are not very spiritual. They're pretty mundane. They're about things like weddings and farming and even violence and, rules and kingdoms and takeovers and war and all these things that don't feel very spiritual. And I guess the challenge then becomes, like, can we see God even there? Which I think is kind of the point of the scriptures, not to be some kind of rule book that people quote back and forth to each other to make a point, basically a point that they already think, but instead to invite us to look for the spiritual in the mundane and maybe even the mundane in the spiritual, because the things are interconnected. And, that's sort of the whole concept behind Jesus, behind incarnation, right? This idea that there's a human being who's also divine, puts on flesh, become real, that maybe if we can see the divine in the Christ, maybe we can see divine in ourselves and in each other. Maybe if we can find the spiritual in the mundane in Scripture, maybe we can find the spiritual in the mundane here, to see how it's all connected and interrelated, instead of trying to parse and separate these things out, decide what pure and holy and sacred and what is trash. I think that's the invitation. I think that's the invitation of incarnation, and sort of our quest to know what it means to be human is wrapped up and intertwined with the divine self that's already there and already exists, and we get the opportunity to bear witness, to observe and embrace. And I don't know, I guess I think that this only can happen if we stop being so preoccupied with what everybody else doing, judging others and deciding they're right or wrong or in or out or sacred or not, maybe then we can take a moment to examine the self and the world that we live in and find the beauty in it and the good in it. That's my wish today, is that as we move through our Sundays, whether they include more typical kind of church experiences or whether they include familial or natural type experiences, that can bear witness to the sacred and the holy in all of it, and attempt not to divide our world into the sacred and the profane. If we can begin to see God in the profane, even maybe we can even bear witness to the God in each one. May it be so.